What is a cause of death you certainly don't want to die from? Rabies. I did some in-depth research a couple years ago, and it is utterly horrifying to say the least. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, and there are almost no cases of people surviving once the virus has entered the nervous system. I had a uncle or something like that who had rabies. He had to get like 30 or so shots of a stuff that helps against rabies. He survived, but like 30 fucking shots. I'm not even man enough to get my blood taken. Edit. Ask my mom about it. Apparently he was bitten by a fox. I think the fox had rabies, but I'm not sure about that. John Jones, who got stuck upside down in a super tight cave passage and U-Tour and rescuers couldn't get him out. So they had to just let him die and then sealed the cave up. Yeah, not my ideal bucket kicking. I am so glad I quit caving after my birth. Being skinned. Being tortured. I just want a quick AHHH and lights out. Call it a day. Not even a AHHH. Just a quick peekaboo, take me out. A flying guillotine blade straight to the back of the neck. That still takes about a minute or so. Yeah. I say something quick like a gunshot's the way to go, if any. Hugging a nuclear bomb when it is detonated would be a pretty soothing way to go. Drown in the mud like soldiers during WWI. Oh fuck that. I heard Dan Cullen's podcast on Passionville, and the unmitigated horror of slowly drowning in mud over the course of a few days haunts my sleep. They begged their brothers in arms to shoot them. Mind giving more detail? Why were they drowning in the mud? During an attack they got injured in the no man's land. No one could go out to get them because they would be shot. The injured took cover in shell holes. Then it started to rain and they couldn't get out. Radiation poisoning. Getting buried alive. This whole thread is making me extremely anxious. This has put my claustrophobia into high gear. Glad I am up for work or I'd have horrid nightmares. If you wake up in a coffin, that means you are either not underground yet or you just got buried, since you would have suffocated if that wasn't either case. Coffins are not made to last, they usually break at one point under the pressure of the soil as it settles. So try to move your body as sideways as you can and kick or punch the side panels of the coffin. It will eventually break and then you can dig up through the fresh ground. If you lose track of where is up and where is down, remember that the soil always falls downwards, so just dig in the other direction. Glowworms. The way they kill their prey is one of the most painful ways to die in the animal kingdom. They use the silk stands to attract prey, paralyze them, drill a hole in the side of their head and fill their insides with stomach acid, then leave them for 2 weeks to digest. Nature's slow cooker. More like nature's fucking psychopath. Eaten by an animal. Chances are you ain't dead yet. My mom used to be friends with a lady who got lost on an expedition and was eaten alive by polar bears. They only found her shoe with the food foot still inside and a few other pieces, as well as her backpack. Surviving a high-speed car crash only to come out of surgery, live in massive pain for 2 days, and then your heart gives out from all the excruciating pain. Or surviving a fire, but over half your body is covered in third-degree wounds, only to die weeks before being cleared to leave and having to spend all those years in the burn unit, only to never see the outside world again. I had 4 spinal fusions and the last surgery they zipper cut my stomach down the middle. The pain was so excruciating that if I even so much as turned my head laying down, my heart rate would spike. They had to sedate me several times because my heart rate would reach 160s, 170s when they tried to move me. Fire. It would be worse to survive it. Drowning is one of my worst fears. Drowning is a process that can take up to a few minutes before you pass out. Must feel like ages. It's even scary to think about it. It's one of those experiences that will stay with you the whole life. I mean, if you start drowning but then survive, you most likely will be afraid of water your whole life. Once when I was 9, I was sitting on my friend's shoulders in a lazy river at a pool, and she said something so funny that I fell off her back and I accidentally laughed underwater, inhaling a bunch of water. And even once I resurfaced I still couldn't breathe. It was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. I thought I was going to drown in the open air because there was so much water in my lungs. Luckily it never translated into a fear of water, but eyelines never forget the sensation. Diarrhea. Regular or explosive? Internally explosive. An erection lasting more than 4 hours. Talk about die hard. Lava. It's a lot worse than movies make it look. MMMM. Spicy honey. You can drink lava, but only once. Being put in a big metal container naked then having the container get heated by a fire. It would be way worse than just being caught on fire. Getting a sword stuck in my anus. That's oddly specific. Maybe it's a coincidence. Killed by someone I know. I don't want to spend the last minutes of my life with the conflicting thought of all the moments I lived with that person versus what they're doing to me at the moment. Fear, frustration, sadness, betrayal, pain. A girl I went to high school with was stabbed to death by her roommate when she was studying abroad. Sometimes I have nightmares about what she must have gone through in her last moments of life. It's morbid and terrifying. Mental illness driving me to commit suicide. Plane crash edit. It's not how quick or slow death can be. Op is talking about the cause of death, not how painful it can be. A plane crash can be terrifying, especially if the plane disintegrates mid-air and you lines be thrown into a 30,000 feet free fall. And I don't want my family and friends to live with that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That feeling in your gut while you're descending and everyone screaming. Driving off a bridge into deep water. It's never happened to me, but for some reason the sound of a windshield cracking upon impact with water and the feeling of a seatbelt digging into my neck and hips pop up in my nightmares a lot. I have a hard time crossing bridges in vehicles. Thanks to that. I previously had a recurring dream where my car went off the road on a rainy day in the middle of a bog while I was driving my mom and sister. I was usually avoiding some hazard on the road and hydroplaning when trying to correct. Sometimes I am in the car with them. Sometimes I'm able to get out. The memory in the dream of the car slowly sinking down into the water and the car slowly filling up still fucks with me even now. Smothered by a gang of puppies and then all of them trying to enter my body through my mouth. What? Respiratory distress. A couple months ago I was on a train when it stopped and asked all medical personnel to report to my car. I look back and a man is on the floor with his girlfriend sobbing. Everyone went quiet, so I heard him gasp, "I can't breathe," and I was so scared I would witness this man's panicked last breaths. After about 20 minutes they were able to get him stable enough to carry him off. Before I had never really thought of not being able to breathe as a terrifying way to die, but damn. Dying from Alzheimer's. I've seen too many people in nursing homes and too many family members die from it. It hurts me now to think, if I had Alzheimer's, eyelines forget the ones I love. Eyelines probably hurt them emotionally and physically. I might cheat on my so. People might say, yeah but you lines want to know. But fuck that, I don't want it. I am also taking care of my dad who has Parkinson's. It's another fucking awful way to die. To slowly lose control of your entire body. And you re just a prisoner inside your own head. And it's not an instant death. It takes years. Dementia and COPD are the two deaths that I fear. Not only will I forget who I and all my loved ones are, but that I will also forget to breathe. That my heart just won't beat me, see my brain malfunctioned. COPD is like being drowned over years. It is never a pretty way to go. Towards end, people are gasping like fish out of water. Dying alone and slowly from old age. After everyone I know is dead. Weirdly, that's my ideal way to go. I want to die after everyone I love, so I know I am not leaving anybody behind. Cancer or any terminal illness. Get hung by my Achilles tendons. Ouch.